This is for food and beverage. Paul, you come up here. Mark's in the audience. I just also like to say what a wonderful job that Matt, Mark, and Paul have done. I hired Paul and Matt, probably, I've been here a little over 2.5 years, and I hired Paul and Matt about 4 months into my tenure here. It's been one of the best decisions I've made from a management standpoint. Mark needs support every Yeah, Mark was working tirelessly trying to make things happen and never was getting the support he deserved. Yeah, he still is. Okay. Recommendation number 1, aggressive market dining options for all restaurant dining means just day-to-day restaurant business, not today. Paul, you want to see read what we're going to do?
Okay. As we go through a lot of this information, there is a lot of information. As Bill said, we spent a lot of time doing this. There's a couple key points. I'm sorry. There's a couple key points here that I'd like to touch on. Obviously, what we can do. We, as was said by the board, we have an amazing new dining room, we have an amazing new bar, we have all these new things that are going to start starting in November. We've got a lot of restructuring. I have new employees that are going to come on board. So we have a lot of new things that are going to be introduced to the residents. For instance, with the new opening of the bar, as you know, we opened it last night for the first time. Starting November 1st, the bar will be open 7 days a week. There will be a bar menu implemented from 2 o'clock until 8 o'clock at night. A lot of this came from a lot of time we send out to our department, we send out a lot of information where we're asking the residents to provide us with information. We utilize that information on things that as we go forward. Bar menu, as I said, will go at 8 o'clock. It's snacks. It runs from like $2.95, I believe the least expensive thing, to about $6.95. Once again, it's for us to try to reach out to part of the community that we don't see regularly when we're open lunch.
Next slide, please. This is an outreach program that follows on what Paul was just talking about. We are going to do some things that were very, very successful. For instance, the 2 for 20 this past Monday night. We sold it out and had 45 on the waiting list. We will continue to do that.
2 for 20, as I'm looking around the room, I saw a lot of you here. Thank you very much. It was very, very successful for us. We kind of had a little bit of apprehension with the amount of people in that short period of time. A little stress was placed on the kitchen because we don't know. We implemented tonight 8 out of menu, which we thought, once again, we used the response from residents. It went flawless, in my opinion. The food left the kitchen within a 15 to 17 minutes. As once the ticket hit the kitchen, which is ideally what we strive for, to have a meal leave the kitchen within 15 minutes. I had the opportunity, and I made sure I talked to every single guest in the restaurant. There was 2 concerns which were addressed immediately. 2 for 20 will be something that will be held on the first and the third month. The first and the third Monday of every month.
Hey, Chef.
Except for in November, excuse me, it's going to get moved around a little bit.
You guys don't get to see him very much, and I just understand. This is Matt, your executive chef. He's the other person that Thanks, Matt. Great job.
Also, very importantly, the extending of happy hours. A lot of people have said, 2 more happy hours, more people will come in. That's something, once again, we're listening, and we're looking at doing things to appeal to the masses. So happy hour will be extended.
We're also adding entertainment on Thursday night starting.
We're planning on doing a grand reopening of the clubhouse on October 28th. At that point, from that point forward, on Thursday nights, we're looking at bringing entertainment into the bar area. Once again, trying to reach out to a new resident. Entertainment will be provided from 6 to 8. I've met with several people. I'm looking for something that's more of background that you can still socialize. We're encouraging residents to use the bar on Tuesdays. We would like to see villages come up on Tuesdays when we're not doing events here at the club and utilize the bar for what it was designed for.
Also, we'll be serving outside. If your village wants to come up and sit outside in our brand new furniture right behind the bar, we can arrange to have staff available. We know in advance to have a server out there so we can actually serve cocktails to people who sit out there and socialize. We're going to, again, reach out to the community in a number of different ways to try to improve the utilization of the clubhouse. Next slide, please. House committee. We do not agree with this recommendation. We have a lifestyle committee in place. It's very functional. We meet with them monthly. Paul and Mark do, and Matt in some cases, and they do a wonderful job. There's been some committee members that are on that committee the whole time I've been here and before. Again, we run all our events by, we feel like that's in place. Outsourcing the restaurant, we disagree with this for a number of reasons. To outsource the restaurant, we currently run at an operating loss because, again, it's not a profit center, it's an amenity, it's for you. So we're going to get into some of those programs in the next presentation. But if an operator like Applebee's or somebody else will come in here first, they're going to do what's best for them. They're not going to do what's best for us. So any kind of all-you-can-eat, $9.95, they're going to go away because they don't make money. They're going to want to look to make a profit. So right now the restaurant loses about 17%. Like Kevin was telling you earlier, it's about less than half of what a normal CIRA, Community Association, loses in their food and beverage operation. We're doing 100% better than the average CIRA in Florida, but it is an acceptable profit. It's an acceptable part of the assessment of your community. And so we're saying bringing an outside restaurant in here is just absolutely out of the question. We lose complete control of all our event planning, and they are going to want to make a profit. So if you think there's a lot of outside events going on now, which right now is pretty much one day a week, you're going to see a lot more activity from outside because it's more profit. So we're recommending to the board to not do this.
And very important on that point, all the resident events that we do will no longer exist. Because an outside company would not entertain doing a trivia, doing a karaoke. That's something they would not look at to do.
At all. Customer service, again, we addressed this. We do believe we do need to improve our customer service. Sometimes when you get into a situation where you're seeing a lot of the same people all the time, you tend to lower your guard down a little bit, get too familiar. We need to improve things like our greet times on tables and recognition of people when they come to the golf shop, things like that. And that we do agree, we do have an issue there. We need to improve that. So as I said in the earlier presentation with golf, we are having an intensive program. And Paul, you want to tell them a little bit about what the food and beverage department is going to do?
Yes, as Kevin was saying earlier, we too will implement different policies. I come from a corporate background. I work for a lot of corporate chain restaurants where we used to meet on a regular basis. We don't meet with our staff regularly. We meet with them individually. We address concerns individually with them concerning them. What Mark and I have committed ourselves to doing is to meet with them on a more regular basis and go through key topics, things that residents have come to me and said, I just want to tell you something that happened to me when I was there a couple days ago. So all these things is what we will address on a weekly basis. It will be a service topic. I came from Innisbrook, which is a Six Sigma company, and we implemented a different thing every month. And there's all steps in which you go through, and if you walk up to any of the employees and ask them what does this mean, they will clearly tell you what it means. That's something that we will be implementing in the future food and beverage.
Same with my background with Ritz-Carlton and Marriott, along with major hotels. They were all Six Sigma companies too. So we're going to take the Six Sigma profile and develop our own plan and implement that on a monthly basis for all the departments. F&B minimum. It's not reasonable here. Again, we're not trying to, I've never believed in forcing anybody to use something against their will. And that's what a food and beverage minimum is. There's people here who just don't use the clubhouse or just don't want to use this restaurant. We're resident dining purely, how the graph is going to come up next. Resident dining loses money because you support it with the assessment. So encouraging more resident dining is only going to make the loss grow. So we want to make the restaurant available and events available to people that want to come to them. And you choose what you want to come to and what you don't. So management is recommending we do not have a food and beverage minimum at every time. This is a breakdown through the first 9 months. This is off the P&Ls. We took out all of the resident events and all of the resident lunch and dinner spending. The top of the number is that $31,474. That's how much profit we make on the outside events through 9 months. If you multiply it out for the year, it's about $46,000. The lunches and dinners, that figure represents all of the liquor, beer, wine, all of the consumed by the residents, all of the resident events, all of the different all-you-can-eat and the dinner and lunch menu. And it loses about 46%. Right now, we make that up. We make up $46,000 of it through outside events. And we're going to have another presentation on that when we talk about outside events. But if we eliminate outside events, we're going to have to go to the residents and increase the assessment somewhere between $4 and $6 per household if we get rid of the outside events. So the two recommendations, again, we're making no food and beverage minimum and keep a limited outside event program. This is what Kevin was referring to. The first two, 2009 and 2010, CIRA is Community Interest Realty Association. Essentially, that's a community association. The one on the far right is what the industry average is. Kevin alluded to this 41% number. That's what the average CIRA loses in a community association. As you can see, we are significantly better. And again, the reason the number is higher for 2010 is our most profitable quarter is the last quarter, October, November, December, because of Christmas parties, because of the weddings we just had this month. We made $16,000 off the weddings so far that we've had this month. So that's net profit. So so it means a great deal to us. The number 7, employee meals. This came up in one of the focus groups. An employee that works here has the right to have an employee meal each shift. And what we do, Paul, we can explain our policy, how we change the menu, doing that.
What is part of my job is obviously to come up with the employee menu. We are right now at an employee menu that goes out quarterly to our employees. I look at the least expensive items which get placed on the employee menu. There is a procedure, there has always been a procedure. Employees order their meals through the bartender, the transaction is rung in, it is closed out, there is money transferred over. I don't know if transfer is the correct word, I'm sorry.
No, it is. We credit each department.
Thank you. Each department gets credited. So any given day, accounting knows that 6 golf shop people, 2 accounting people, every department is broken down by how many meals go through. A lot of the food, if it's not on the menu, we will utilize food that was left over from an event. And I don't like to use the word leftover. Food that was prepared for an event, that was paid for. So let me take that back. That is used because it's already been paid for.
It didn't come from your plate.
No. It's food when we prepare for an event, obviously we have to prep in excess to cover our butts, to be absolutely honest with you. That food is there and we utilize it for the employee meals. It's already been paid for.
Next, please. Recognition number 8, implement a management scorecard. This is what I just explained. It's extremely difficult to do this approach based on the way the management their job functions are, and the fact that we do meet weekly staff meetings and discuss numerous things, and we meet weekly, all of us meet weekly individually. I have meetings every week separately with Gary. I meet with food beverage on a very frequent basis. I have a separate meeting with golf, and I have a separate meeting with security and Valley. I do that weekly in addition to the staff. Gary? Thanks, Paul. Yeah, Gary, Marcia, and Kim, our property manager, worked with me coming up with these recommendations. So I'm going to have Gary up here go through it. Conduct association reserve study and implement reserve funding plan. I think most of you know that Larry Lampkin is chairman of the reserve that is in place and fully funded at $30. Gary's a significant piece of that. Gary, Larry, and I that put that together, and Gary worked diligently. Larry, we probably ought to put it on staff. Next, please. He works a lot. I'm telling you, he works a lot of hours. No user fee for amenities other than golf and food beverage. We agree with that. Implement revenue enhancing ideas raised by strategic planning committee, including these typical of other series. First is we're going to start offering a more aggressive to-go plan, and we're looking into delivery options to deliver food to, say, widows and people like that that can't go out or maybe not have transportation to be able to call and order food. We're going to take it to the resident. That plan is being developed. The to-go food plan is going to be aggressively marketed starting in the fall. The second one, Gary?
Yeah, we're looking at putting together a package right now to offer golf cart maintenance to the residents of Heritage Pines. We right now have one staff member that is trained, certified through EasyGo, and we're looking at more training for my staff, and putting out a package for the residents, offering parts, service, quarterly PM service, and also a possibility of a user card while your card's being worked on.
The other thing we'll be able to do is we'll be able to come to your house, pick the card up, and bring it. Even if it doesn't run, we'll be able to come get it, take it, tow it to our facility, take it back without you.